the birth of completely new contexts, new technologies, new practices. I kind of want to show you what I have from my notes on my phone. You can't read that, but it just has three things. As much as we prepare for it, meaning birth, the coming in of a new soul or a new consciousness, it still upends us. I love that word, upend. And I think of how, the baby Jesus upended, upended the whole prophecy of a savior. I mean, here he comes and he's born in a dirty old stable. A midwife would have never allowed that. And he's right. and and the government shall be upon his shoulder, as Isaiah prophesied. He was always this wandering itinerant preacher, followed by sensational people who were impressed by his deeds, but didn't really get what he was saying. And every time he had a moment, they tried to record it. They all, they pretty much got a few good ones, and then he was executed by the powers of government. Well, what kind of record is that? I mean, that completely upends the Israeli people, the Hebrew people. It completely upends their idea of what was supposed to happen. And that's what happens, when we receive a child into our lives, isn't it? All of us who have had children, no matter how much we prepare, and it was advertised, I was going to talk about the archetypal process we go through as we prepare for a birth of a child. Well, I got kind of like that's kind of boring. Okay, enough of that. We is that enough? I mean, yeah, we have our nesting instincts and we get everything ready, and then the child comes and everything that we thought we were going to be able to pull off in grand style kind of has to be revised. Yeah. And I'll tell you a little story about my granddaughter Aurora, about that. So she was here the summer before last. She was 7, she was 6, and she just loved toys. She loved to buy toys, all the toys that she saw and she fell in love with. We tried to get. And so I told her I want to take her to the Dollar Tree because everything's a dollar in there, and she could have 5 things. But she wanted a pillow that they had that was $5. The pillow was $5. And not only that, Emma, I can't just take this pillow away from these other pillows. They had faces on them because the other pillows told me that they'll be brokenhearted if one of them leaves, and so I have to get two. He reads it's in their eyes, you see. And I'm staring into the eyes. I'm starting to see it myself. And Becky, her mother, walks in. She says, "Oh, you having problems? I thought this might happen. I'll take care of it. You just go on. Just go away. Leave me alone for a minute." So Becky walks up to us after a little while with the pillow, and she says to her, "Well, I told the other pillows that there's going to be a party this afternoon, and they're happy to stay and let this one go now. So okay, it's okay." She says, "Okay." So the next day we were at the dock. I was seeing them off on the ferry to go back to Wisconsin. And I was just musing, and I said to Sarah, I said to Becky, uh, Sarah's my other daughter. I said to Becky, it's really a great parallel of our lives. We make up a fiction, a story, and we live in that story, and then we use it to make ourselves suffer. And but it's not real. And Aurora says, "But mine was real." She was listening, And I just said 2 words. I said, "To you." And do you know there was this shift in her energy? You could almost see it in her aura. You could see it in her aura. And she's been a different child since then. She processed that in the moment. Yeah. It's real to me, but not necessarily beyond me. And now she's making taking great strides. Her teacher said to Becky when they had their conference, she said, Aurora's the only child who sees all the characters in a story from the perspective of their emotional investment in the story. Yeah, she's now 8 years old. And I just think that we all, we all do this. We all inadvertently, not so much deliberately, we accept the conditions of the appearances around us and we make it into a story that we then live in and suffer by. And I say, go up to the next floor up, people. Go up to the next story because when you look down on conditions from a detached state, and wasn't Hamid Bey always talking this way? When we observe, when we become the observer, and we don't make these things mean what we've been making them mean, our suffering ends. And that's the whole point. I love the mission statement that Darcy read at the beginning, that to empower people to live lives where they're happy and where we're able to fulfill our aspirations and our intentions. But right now, we're facing quite a challenge because our you could take this model of, living in a story and apply it to our entire civilization of humanity. I mean, the whole planet Earth, human beings, all the different nationalities, all the different cultures and climates and traditions and legal systems and monetary systems and industries and agricultures and economic trade system are all at a point where we are now due to awaken from a fiction that is driving this whole civilization. And that fiction is, that you got to have equal amounts of money to get what the what we need, and people who don't have it just have to do without. And when you're thinking about, people, uh, visitors from, extraterrestrial visitors, what would it be like if Earth was actually visited by a group of robots who said, we're not the real life forms from where we're coming from. Because they wouldn't send themselves. They would only send robots because it's much too dangerous. We don't know what you guys are up to over here. But we want to try and see if it's safe for us to come because all we want to do is come and appreciate your life forms and you can appreciate our life form. But it's not safe most places because most places are having wars and toxic, poisons and crime, all kinds of violence. We just never know what we're going to expect. So we always send our robots in ahead of us. And we can tell you how to straighten this stuff out so that, we could come and visit you. We could actually come and visit you in peace if you get peaceful. But here's what you got to do. I'm afraid to say it, guys. You'll call me a communist or a socialist. I mean, you got to give up you got to give up all this separation and exploitation and inequality and unwholesomeness and unsustainability. You just got to start caring about each other and let go of all the stuff that you've made up that you think is so necessary. Now, I really admire the different voices that emerge right now that we can find. Like, there's one voice I really admire. Um, oh, no, I didn't write it down. See, stress makes you forget things. Jared Diamond. Yeah, Jared Diamond. He has an interview on YouTube where he talks about how there are four critical, dilemmas that humanity has to resolve in order to proceed. And one of them is inequality. That's so important. Our compassion will lead us to taking that on. Can you just imagine these robots? Just like in the day the Earth stood still, only a whole bunch of robots, and they emerge from some spaceship and they say, yeah, we know you got artificial intelligence. Big deal. You haven't even put it to use yet. You guys are really slow. But uh, that's what we're facing. Neil Donald Walsh gave a presentation when I used to live in Kansas City. He says, guys, the parade is going off the cliff. It's heading in the wrong direction. We got to change the direction here because it's just heading over the cliff. I think that's very apt. And what did he do? He created humanity's team, you know? And teamwork is a key approach to transformation, to rising out of the being stuck, to creating solutions for problems. So I love the phrase, our civilization is being driven by a fiction that we are now due to awaken from. I think we're ready. I think there are so many people everywhere, all of us here tonight, that have caught on. Hey, we don't need to be doing this. You know, I can live some other way. The whole global situation of governments and wars and competition and power struggles is becoming so absurdly senseless to many people. We are becoming a new humanity. That's what I say. And that's what Hamid Bey prophesied, that this new consciousness would be birthed, would be revealed, would be realized, would come forth from our hearts and minds to create a new humanity and to transform our lives here on earth and to enjoin us in harmony and appreciation to so much more than we now have. So I hope you in your in your Christmas journeys. I hope you think of my granddaughter Aurora and what she sees in the eyes of the inanimate objects. That I started to see it. I started to see it, because the human perception, the perception of feeling and personality and characteristics of our musculature around our eyes and our mouths has just thousands of interpretations. It's been researched that dogs can see over 125 expressions of human faces, and we can only see about 70. So our dogs know us better than we do. But I haven't taken up very much time here, so it's only 31 minutes after the hour. So I would like to revisit then this sermon. It's kind of analytical because I got across to you, you're so receptive. I got across to you the thing that I really carry in my heart that's so precious right now, especially in this Christmas season, the birthing of a new humanity, the realization of new possibility, all that. Okay. But when I was talking about a time of splendor right on at the beginning of December, because all the Sundays in December, all the services, gatherings, spiritual events in December are extra sacred because it's Christmas, right? Right? It's true. And I started out this time of splendor theme saying that we can be aware of four different domains of experience that have correlations in various systems. So that's the four domains are the physical, which corresponds to the suit of the suit of clothes, corresponds to the direction of the north, I believe, and it corresponds to the element of earth and the splendors of the physical experience at this time of splendor, which is means brightly lit, glorious quality. The things that we can behold of splendor in the physical domain are, you know, the trees without their leaves etching the sky, the night sky, the beautiful um, stars that we see, just all of the physical wonders of the solstice, the moon, the die off, the hibernating animals. It's all something in the physical realm that is just breathtakingly splendid, I think. And then in the intellectual realm, intellect corresponds to the suit of diamonds, the element of, is it air? No, earth, air. Yeah, air. And then the direction of the south, I believe. Have I got that right? Anyway, it's one of the directions. The four directions correspond to earth, air, fire, water. So so the splendors of the intellect, you know, are the contemplation of a family traveling that nativity story and arriving and giving birth to a baby in a stable. The inception of Christianity with the birth of Jesus and the whole Jesus movement that it spawned. The intellectual part of our holiday is um, is just special. It's different than any other time of our thinking. And then the splendors of the emotional domain, the loving friends we remember, the gifts that we want to give to people, and the joy that we want to impart to the children and all our beloved friends. The exalted emotions of the holiday. Exalted emotions. That's a wonderful phrase. Those are emotions of gratitude and appreciation and beholding of grandeur. And then the spiritual part, or you might call it the mystical part. That's the most important part. And I think that it occurs because everyone's thinking about the same thing at the same time. The whole world over, even non-Christian populations are thinking about this solstice, this mystery of rebirth, this mystery of the transformation of humanity through spiritual awakening. And it takes on a whole life of its own. It takes on a vibrational power that just, infuses everyone, sweeps us all up if we allow it to. And so I just invite you to let that happen, to notice that those things are going on at this season and they don't happen any other time. And to notice that people all over, we see this on the internet, people everywhere are awakening out of this nightmare dream of this fiction that's been driving us into misery and deprivation and inequality and insustainability and exploitation and greed. We don't need this. Not necessary. We release it and declare ourselves liberated. So I'd just like to seal this time of talking with a little moment of inner experience, just to turn within and touch that limitless consciousness that feeds us, guides us, protects us, and heals us, inspires us, and empowers us to love, to truly love as never before. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diane.
You're welcome.
What a beautiful framing of this prelude to this wonderful season of joy. And so I'd like to open things up for questions or discussions or comments.
I didn't make it as clear as I should have. How McVeigh said that we're going from duality, which we are in now, to oneness. And he expressed how important it is that we do things for our neighbors and people, and that we do have a lot of compassion. And we're not alone. We're one.
I have to say, Rose, I so admire your scholarship in the Coptic teachings.
I read what he I read what he wrote.
And you totally internalize it and express it beautifully, and I thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to comment on somebody talking about the dirty manger where Jesus was born. What I have heard fairly recently somewhere, and I don't remember where or what talk it was, that the reason for being in the manger was not just that the inn was full, but it was full of male travelers who were rowdy and drinking, and it was not a place where you would want a child to be. And so the family actually were Essenes who had this inn, and that they were they had prepared the barn, the manger, knowing some way, maybe the angel told them that this was going to happen, and this was a place that the baby could be born without the interference of these travelers. And so it gives kind of a different picture, a different way of thinking, that the family was really excited to have this birth take place on their property, but they had to do it in a way that it would be a beautiful experience, not in the midst of the rowdy crowd at the inn.
I think that's a perfectly beautiful, you know, story of how that worked in like divine synchronicity.
Yeah, I think that might have been through the Edgar Casey readings.
Wow.
That the daughter of the innkeeper had reincarnated in this time, and when he gave her a reading, this came out in that reading.
Wow.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to share, or any questions or additions?
Well, I'm looking forward to the conference that we have coming up when Cryon Lee Carroll is going to be the special guest, and I expect that with these changes that are taking place, that there will be a lot of comments in that presentation. I'm trying to think. Right now, this month there are two. Is it two new moons? There's something happening this month, or is it two
full moons, maybe?
Two full moons? I'm not sure. There's something, because I don't, that it doesn't sound right. I recently read something from an astrologer, and I don't think that's right. There's,
Yeah, there's two new moons in December. The first one
oh,
was on the 1st and the next one's on the 30th. So yeah, you're right.
okay, that was it. And I don't know exactly what the meaning of all of that is. I'm not an astrologer, but this month is highly, um, um, I want to say volatile or different things were to happen because of the astrological events and not being an astrologer. I just remember thinking as I read this, it was like a wow. In fact, I printed it off and I'm not sure where I think I probably got it right here somewhere. Actually.
New moon means new beginnings, so we're pregnant with new beginnings
Yeah. Yeah.
here. Two new moons in 1 month. Diane, I love how you phrase the idea of the fictions that we that we come up with, and so often we don't want to give up those fictions. We are so sure that this is the way it is or it has to be, instead of just realizing if we could just let go a little bit and recognize that, that it could be so much more than what we're holding on to so tightly. I loved the story about Aurora and and the pillowcases or the pillows and I can really relate to that, having been a veteran teacher, and so out of the mouths of babes, right? They are our constant teachers, and so thank you for that framing of this particular time that we're entering into before the celebration of the birth of Christ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else who would like to share?
Well, I did find what she said about the new moon. There's a lot of positive energy around the new moon taking place astrologically in the next few months. Um, the play of light and shadow is very strong. Over here, we're exposed to that which carries light. Over there, we're exposed to that which carries shadow. And I'm not sure when she's saying over there, if she means on the other side. I'm not sure what over there is. But anyway, right now, the time of the new birth, it's new within all of us. It's not just in an outer being or another person. Isn't that what John has said, that Ahmed Bey had said, that the Christ is a birth in each and every one of us that's an awakening.
Christ consciousness.
Yes. And I feel that it's really happening. Don't you feel a different energy? I feel a different energy. Glad to see Nancy.
I'm having a hard time this season. It just doesn't seem like Christmas to me. It's happening around me and I'm just not part of it this year. I feel like an observer. And maybe sometimes we take a time out. Maybe some years are a timeout. And it could be too that I'm not immersing myself in the holiday atmosphere either. I've got other things going on around me, so uh, that's probably what it is. I'm not letting myself envelop the season to feel part of it. So I have a Christmas party next week to go to, so perhaps that'll be the beginning of it. Um, I didn't even put up a tree this year because I'm moving and I've got so much to do that I have very minimal
It's a must and a promise of Allah that Islam is victorious. After nearly
we have a visitor.
That's strange.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get there, I'm sure. One of the most favorite night of the year for me has always been Christmas Eve. So I want to experience that again. So I hope it comes around for me. Life is what you make it, right?
Exactly. I listened to a weekend of speakers from the Canadian ARE conference this weekend, and they had people from China, from try to think, they're all around the world, the Philippines, um, not France, but Belgium, French speaker, and from Canada and the US, and just all around. The one lady said, what are you telling yourself? What is your inner talk? This is where your energy is going, you know. Are you saying that things are depressing and sad, or are you saying everything is beautiful? Find a way to start your day with everything is beautiful. God is guiding me in the path. And I thought I needed that right now. I needed that. This is the Advent season, and I feel excited. So I hope somebody helps you find some excitement, Nancy, in the
I
Advent.
hope so too.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I can, now that you mention, what is my self-talk? What are my thoughts? And my thoughts are, oh, I got to get this done. I got to do that. Oh, I better hurry up. I got this to do. I got to get rid of this. I got to pack this up. My mind's not even in the season. So that's
Yeah,
that's probably why I'm just not allowing myself to um be part of it. So now that I'm aware of it, I can do something about it.
yeah. Take
just
some
make
time.
sure that you don't assign that as another got to, because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to um, feel a certain way. You don't have to think a certain way. You don't have to participate in different things. It's all your choice. And it is perfectly okay, like you said, to take some time off once in a while. I mean,
Mhm.
that's why we take vacations, to get away from the normal, to get away from the daily, to take a break and reconnect with who we are, so that we can refresh and get back to our intended direction with more energy, with more vigor, with more determination. So, I mean, give yourself permission to take a break and to take care of the business of today, while even though it may be different than what you would normally be doing at this time frame,
Yeah.
there's a reason for it, and you're still in a period of transition. And so once you make the move, and once you settle into the new space, then you can decide at that point, um, how are you choosing to live your life,
Hmm.
and then you can be intentional at that point. So
I'm
Don't
ready.
assign a have to or a got to anything more than what you want.
Well, you know, it's strange, guys. I don't really want to move,
Oh,
but I have to.
oh. Well, I will say moving was the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life when I downsized from my house to a retirement community. And so I understand how exhausted you are, but some way, if you can visualize things being done,
Well, it's all for the good. I know that. I mean, it's a tug of war. It's like
yeah.
I'm packing
Nancy,
up stuff and I don't really want to pack it up. But
Nancy, some negative things have happened to me this month, and I thought, you know, I remember what it was like when I learned there really wasn't a Santa Claus, and I'm coming out of it. So,
yeah,
but yeah, I,
one of those fictions, huh, Rose?
right, and I just moved, and yeah, it's been tough to make that move and all new people and whatever. And yeah, I have to find good reasons why all these people voted for a criminal who hates women. It's just it but I've decided that I can be happy to all.
We always don't get what we want. Maybe we get what we need, or there's a lesson for everything that happens, isn't there?
Yeah, try to find a good thought for your day to start. Be thankful for another day and for an opportunity to experience something new. And look forward to something good happening in that day and start looking for something good so that whatever else is happening takes a second place to looking forward to something good. I'll bet out of every day, if you can find at least one something good, if not more.
Well, I think Diane gave us many wonderful foods for thought this evening,
Yes.
and Rose as well. So thank you both for your contributions. Thank you for those of you who shared this evening. Before we leave each other's company, I would like to take a moment, a prayer, the Coptic prayer. So if you could close your eyes, settle in. Heavenly Father, make my heart thy garden of joy and happiness, thy temple of peace. May the radiant lights of the Spirit illuminate the pathway of my life, uniting my soul and mind into one thought of love. May the perception of such enlightenment guide me to the fulfillment of my thoughts and desires. May the fragrance of thy presence be ever manifested in my life. Peace, peace, peace. And so it is.
Thank you, Darcy.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
everyone.
being here tonight.